We'll just check on the lineups of both sides. For Australia, only 4 players remain from the side that defeated Japan 2-1 a year ago in Sydney, to emphasise the extent of Australia's player drain overseas. Tony Popovich and Alex Tobin were central defensive partners that night, and they'll continue those roles this evening. John Markowski and Damien Murray are Australia's main hopes from an attacking sense. Murray in particular in good form, scoring a hat-trick in midweek for Adelaide City. 7 other players from the 13 used a year ago now earn a living overseas. Central midfielder Milan Blagojevic is moving against the trend. After a career in Europe, he's now playing in Australia again with UTS Olympic. John Markowski will lead Australia's attack tonight. He scored against Japan a year ago with a fine header in the first half, and he hopes to do even better than that tonight, I'm sure. For Japan, Kazimura is suspended, which means that Japan's main danger is the number 10, Takagi. He's scored 14 goals in his 33 internationals to date. Japan's captain is the number 4, Ihara. That's Japan's number 8, Kitazawa. He's one of the more experienced players in this Japanese lineup. 38 games. He'll play in the centre of midfield. They're such a professional outfit, this Japanese side. Their warm-up procedure before the match was so organised and structured. The discipline is very high, and they'll test Australia tonight without a doubt. We await the kick-off. Japan with their players in a huddle. The last-minute preparations led by the captain, Ihara. Australia just waiting patiently for the referee to get the match underway. It'll be Japan to kick off. They'll be playing from left to right. And Australia's international program for the 1996 begins against an increasingly familiar opponent in Japan. This is the 4th match between the two sides since 1994. Certainly more matches against Asian opponents is an integral part of Australia's World Cup build-up. They played twice in 1994. There were 2 draws, both in Japan. One result was 1-1, the other was 0-0. And as I mentioned earlier, last year Australia beat Japan 2-1 in Sydney. Goals from John Markowski and Steve Corica. Robbie Hooker in quickly there. Hooker more familiar with the sweeper role for his club West Adelaide, but Eddie Thompson's moved him to the left-hand side of his defence. Alex Tobin. Here's Matt Bingley from Marconi. Free kick this time going to Japan against Damien Murray. Damien Murray, another player who's not quite playing in his normal club position. Eddie Thompson has him on the right-hand side of midfield. Down that flank, hoping to add him to the attack, which is led by Trimboli and Markowski tonight. Throw into Japan. Early signs of untidiness from both sets of players as they settle into the match. The ball goes back to the Japanese goalkeeper, Meikawa. for the Sanfrecce Hiroshima club. Blagojevic wanted in the air. Bingley helped out, and the ball fell nicely to Milan Blagojevic. Long ball forward, looking for a run from Damien Murray. Free kick again to Australia. Alex Tobin just partnering Tony Popovic in defence. Ivanovic behind them. Paul Wade probably the target, along with Popovic there, for this free kick, as Blagojevic just dummies over the ball to see if the Japanese defence runs out to play the offside game. That's what Australia are expecting. It didn't eventuate though. Wade was the target. Australia win the throw. Robbie Hooker. Trimboli. Nice turn. Little chip across the goal. Great ball. Murray! Fine save from the goalkeeper. But a good chance there for Damien Murray, created by the turn from Paul Trimboli. He got past his man very comfortably indeed. Worked his way into the penalty area. The cross was accurate. And the goalkeeper called into action early, John.
Beautiful play from Trimboli. We were talking before the game about his form against New Zealand, what an outstanding game he had, and this is one of the reasons why he can do things like that. Seemed to be a save there. I just wonder on that decision, Paul.
Yeah, the referee gave a goal kick there, but it did appear as though the goalkeeper got a touch.
Certainly a touch from the keeper.
Lady Thompson will be pleased with his side creating a move of that quality so early on in the match. There's the number 10, Takagi. He is the danger man for Japan tonight.
You're particularly pleased for Trimboli, a touch-type player, very much a skilled player, and it does depend on your early touch of the ball that things go for you. And the indications there from Trimboli. It would surprise me, Paul, he was starting out more or less up front with Markovsky, which did surprise me a little bit. I thought he would play a little bit behind, which is the favoured role for him.
Japan, traditionally very quick, nimble side, very tidy on the ball. Good short passing game. Way off there from Nanami. Nice switch of play to the right-hand side of defence to Yanagimato. Popovic did well to keep the ball in. Hooker. Wade slowing the game down by playing the ball back to a sweeper. Australia will build again with Matt Bingley. Down the line for the run from Damien Murray. Well, on paper before the game, Japan certainly looked like they were playing a 4-4-2 formation. Let's see how that pans out as the match goes on. Markovsky, nice layoff. If Hooker can keep it in, which he can. Waiting for a run as he clips the ball across, aiming for Markovsky, the big centre forward for Australia. Japan will be well aware of his ability in the air after he scored that goal against them just over a year ago. Trimboli. Hooker, get possession well. Popovic, Blagojevic trying to let the ball run to fool his marker. But he's given the ball away to Nanami. Out wide is Soma. Chip over the top of the defence by Kitazawa, came to nothing. Frank Jurich in this bright red outfit. But he does stand out. Murray tries to chase his own attempt to beat a man. Plenty of Japanese supporters here tonight. Good to see they've made the trip down from Sydney for the match. Fairly quiet so far, though no doubt when their side starts to mount some serious attacks, they'll come to life. Goalkeeper off his line very quickly there, Meikawa, and he gets play underway very quickly as well, as Mori just couldn't quite get on the end of his first touch. Seven minutes gone here at Brandon Park, still 0-0. Feet of Damien Mori, pushing in the back from the Japanese defender. Bingley will take the free kick. High ball, Wade challenging, the goalkeeper off his line, right to the edge of the penalty area. And it was a clean take from the Japanese keeper.
Which is unusual for Japanese keepers we've seen in the past. It's been one of the weaknesses of Japanese football, their lack of confidence in the air, lack of confidence coming off their line. But that certainly was a very positive move by the keeper. From Australia's perspective, Trimboli in good touch.
Juric called off his line quickly as the Takagi goes round him. Juric back in goal now. Japan on the attack. Cleared away by Wade, the captain. Still the visitors come forward. And a good ball in behind the defence. Hooker couldn't get there. Juric was able to take the ball without any pressure from an opponent. And the first positive signs from Japan, in an attacking sense anyway. Bogojevic. Hooker. To Bogojevic. Well cut out by the captain Ihara. Certainly does appear to be some pace in this Japanese side from certain players. That one of them is Okano, the number 24. This is just his 4th international. One of the players that the Japanese coach Kamo is looking to develop this particular tour. Hooker back to Popovic. Ivanovic just drawing his man before playing the pass off to Tobin. Bingley was bundled off the ball by the fact that the Japanese closed the space around him very quickly indeed. It's the number 8, Kitazawa, who plays for Verdy Kawasaki in the J-League. Markowski forced back to Hooker, who goes down the line. Wade got a toe in there. Trimboli's in quickly, but the defence was across, and it was somewhat of a fortunate pass to Paul Trimboli, though he tried to make the most of it. Wade it was who just slid into the tackle. But the defence was across very quickly indeed. John Markowski will take the long throw. Bingley goes to the near post. Wade's there as well. What's causing John Markowski to hesitate is the fact that the Japanese player is standing right on the touchline. The goalkeeper comes and punches. And Markowski tried the first time shot from an awkward angle and an awkward bounce of the ball, and that is a goal kick. All of Japan's players, of course, play in their own domestic league. So So this is virtually their strongest side, which will give Eddie Thompson a good look at the quality that Japan have currently. Come forward here, good shot over the bar, but a nicely worked opening for the shot for the number 6 Yamaguchi. Number 24 for Japan, who is Okano, certainly looks a dangerous player. He's one that Australia will have to watch.
And a very famous name in Japanese football, Okano. Mr. Okano, the coach of the Japan team, which won the bronze medal at the Olympics in '68. Also the IOC delegate for Japan and vice president of the J League.
And Takagi forward. And the last man standing for Australia was Alex Tobin. And he decided to go down in the tackle, but he certainly stopped the progress of Takagi. After again, Okano did well to win the ball for Japan. And that will run through to Frank Jurich. Ivanovic starts things again for the Socceroos. Matt Bingley. Popovic. Markowski, turn. John Markowski through. Well, the flag's gone up from the linesman, though John Markowski looks like he's finding it hard to believe that decision. It certainly didn't look offside from the initial pass that was played in, but Damien Murray is just going on his own and firing in the shot. A really positive strike from a man in fine form. Well, he didn't hesitate to let fly, did he? And that caused the goalkeeper some problems, and he was forced to knock it round the post. Well, Damien Murray's club form is absolutely at its peak at the moment. Markowski takes the corner. Blagojevic back out to John Markowski. Whipped one in. Plenty there for Australia. The goalkeeper's fumbled it. And he went down and gathered it there. And perhaps, John, some signs of what you were saying before about pressure under crosses.
Well, just as we were praising them, this goalkeeper has impressed us so far tonight, but this is more of what we've come to expect from Japanese keepers in the past. Just not that my ball type of situation in the air.
Turned and tripped by Blagojevic. There's the number 6, Yamaguchi, who gets up quickly and plays on. Ivanovic just clips it forward straight to one of the Japanese defenders, and this is the number 3, Yanagimato. Ball pass from Yanagimato. His teammate Kitazawa doesn't hesitate to let him know about that. Hooker waiting for someone to throw the ball to it. Finds Trimboli. Markowski. Murray almost winning that ball somewhat by fortune as it cannoned off the boot of Markowski. Yamaguchi. Long ball forward. Touched on. Japan certainly seem to have settled down after a shaky start. These two boys up front look very lively indeed. That's the number 10, Takagi, goes down. Well handled that time by Tony Popovic. Push in the back by Bingley. A foul on the number 14. Nanami. Japan very quickly get play underway. Paul Wade in very quickly there to win the ball for Australia as Markovski takes on his man, waiting for support. Forced inside, but comfortably handled by the captain, Ihara. Hooker. Markovski now could turn. Trimboli, offside. Markovski turned away from his man and fed the ball to Trimboli there, and you can see the Japanese players on the far side appealing for offside. Yanagimato. Well won indeed there by Australia, Robbie Hooker in particular, and he gets the ball back. Nice little touch inside to Trimboli, back to Hooker. First time cross. And Popovic before his man, and that surely is a foul by Kitazawa. But nice little move from Australia down that left-hand side. Robbie Hooker, the main part of that move. Hooker with the free kick. Too far out to really cause any direct problems. Japan clear the ball comfortably as it goes back to Ivanovic. Switch of play, wide to Trimboli. Nice little touch back to Hooker. Again, the first time cross, and a good shot on the volley there by Tony Popovic. Nice touchback from Trimboli, the first time cross, and Popovic with the instincts of a centre forward rather than a centre back. With a fine strike on goal. Trimboli did very well to pressure the goalkeeper there, cutting out the option of playing it to his fullback. And the goalkeeper was very fortunate indeed to just squeeze the ball past Trimboli in the end. It's a free kick to Australia, and Blagojevic takes it quickly to Hooker, who's been very much involved in the opening few minutes. Trimboli touches it to Blagojevic. Japan on the counter-attack now with Okano. This is where they're really dangerous. Australia got men back very quickly, but a nice switch of play to the number 12, Soma. Away by Popovic. Shot in the end coming in from the Nami, but it was a tame effort by the Japanese midfielder. Well, John, we're 20 minutes into the match, and we've already seen some lively work down this left-hand side in particular for Australia, with Hooker and Trimboli involved. Yeah, Hooker overlapping very, very well, and Trimboli involved in many of the positive attacks that Australia's doing. You would like ideally to see some more of that happening on the right side where Bingley can be so effective. But a very open game, very entertaining game. A lot of that has to do with the way Japan have approached this match. It's been a very open approach to it. They haven't just said, well, we're playing away from home and sit back. And this has enabled Australia to have their day in the sun at the other end as well. I just wonder the reasoning, and obviously Eddie Thompson has his reasons for it, of Mori playing so wide on the right. You would think of him operating perhaps more through the middle with Markovski and Trimboli coming just a little touch from behind. Yanagimato fires in the cross. Any high ball into the Australian penalty area will be well and truly eaten up with the likes of Tobin and Popovic there.
Not the tactic, is it, against the Australian defence? Tobin, Ivanovic, Juric, of course, Popovic.
Bingley forward, nice ball as well to Damien Murray, who's got behind his marker. Markovski's in the centre. He's waiting for some support. Trimboli now working his way in. Bingley with the first-time cross. Markovski's challenging. Again, Australia looking the more lively in attack. As Wade apologises to Okano. Apologies accepted, and Japan on with the game very quickly once again. Strong challenge in behind there from Bingley. And the first yellow card of the night goes to an Australian player, Matt Bingley, for that challenge from behind. And FIFA's ruling on tackles from behind is now well known.
Well, there's comment in the lead up to this match that Australia was concerned about the physical approach of Japan. They did see them play a trial game here the other night, apparently, and they felt that Japan were playing a very physical game, which surprises me, because one of the weaknesses, if it can be called a weakness of the game, is that they're a very fair team. We're always winning fair play trophies. And have, if anything, probably not had enough steel in their game. So it did surprise me to not only read that comment, but also to hear it from locals here. Perhaps it's an aspect of their game. They're trying to get into their game for the forthcoming big matches coming up, leading up to the World Cup.
Wade clears with the header through the centre of the goal, though, which is not quite out of the textbook. Japan called offside. Australia move forward with Robbie Hooker. Without a doubt, all the Australian players have their eyes on next year's World Cup qualifiers. These matches really are a chance to stake a claim for a place in Eddie Thompson's squad when he brings the overseas players back from their clubs in Europe. It's a first yellow card for the Japanese side for that challenge on Blagojevic. Blagojevic gets back to his feet. It's a free kick to Australia. Markovski at the back post. Popovic and Wade there as well. As Eddie Thompson's up off his feet, giving Bingley the instructions. The high lofted ball. Good header from Wade towards the goal. He beat his marker in the air, which is really a trademark of his over the years. And it was Markovski who he tried to nudge the ball onto, but it ran through to the goalkeeper. Another free kick to Australia. Wade, Hooker. Oh, Trimboli was tripped there quite blatantly by the number 17. Omura. Hooker's little flick over the Japanese defender had him beaten. And it was an intentional foul there. Popovic with the free kick. Wade's at the back post. Goalkeeper comes. And good judgment from Meikawa that time. He had to come an awfully long way to gather that cross.
Restored our faith in him, Paul, this one. Very positive.
Blagojevich, nice touch to Trimboli. Hooker. All the way back to Ivanovic, though he did think about the switch to Bingley. Now the switch comes via the Adelaide City pairing of Tobin and Ivanovic. Matt Bingley goes past one. Little chip inside, looking for either Murray or Trimboli and finding neither. Back to the goalkeeper. As we mentioned earlier, the J-League champions are the Yokohama Marinos. A couple of their players on show tonight. We would expect more from the league champions. But Australia, a real training ground for Japanese sides in preparation for their J-League. I believe there's already a couple of clubs in the country training in preparation for the new season. I enjoy coming here. I hope to learn a lot about Australian soccer too, because they really do fear Australia when the next round of World Cup matches is played. They're hoping to qualify before having to meet the likes of Australia. Trimboli turns away. He's looked very sharp tonight, Paul Trimboli, holding up the ball well. Tarkowski offside. You'd have to say by that look on his face that he didn't agree with the decision.
I think he's also complaining about the slightly late delivery. He'd run, taken up a good position, wanted it just that fraction early. But because of the delay, he does run offside.
Tarkowski held off his man well. Blagojevich trying to find Hooker, who was nicely positioned on the left, and Hooker's won it on his own. And he was brought down in the end by Moriyasu. And a very open feel about this match as Bingley comes forward down the right-hand side. Murray turns past one. Second defender was too much for him though. And Japan come out of defence nicely. Switch of play to the fullback, Yanagimoto. He's got plenty of room to move forward into. He's looking for a run. He's found one. Hooker under pressure. Well covered though by Ivanovic. And Australia tidily playing their way out of defence and finding John Markovski. And Markovski there, unhappy with the obstruction from Mihara. The decision went against the Japanese captain though. And the referee wants to talk to John Markovski about keeping his foot in just after the incident. It was a clear obstruction and he got the decision. But he's just asked to cool things down for the moment. Just over half an hour gone here at Brandon Park, still 0-0. Bingley now. There was an Australian player offside, but it wasn't Trimboli who did end up taking the shot. The flag went up nonetheless, and the decision went in favour of the visitors. Ball looking for the run from Takagi. He's been kept fairly quiet of late after a lively opening from the Japanese number 10. Australia look to get forward quickly with Popovic. Not a lot of options on for him. Tuyin's back inside, goes back to Ivanovic. Japan push out. Tobin to Bingley. Certainly Japan making it very hard for Australia to work the ball forward, but now they've found some space with Mori. Still plenty of blue shirts between Damien Mori and the goal. Nice bit of skill there from Nanami, the number 14. Hara, the captain, coming forward from the back. Yanagimoto. It's inside, nicely slipped ball. Another free kick given away by Australia in a dangerous position this time though, for the foul on Moriyasu by Blagojevic. And Japan now with the free kick around 22 metres out. There's 5 in the Australian wall. That is a perfect shot from behind the goal. You can see exactly what has to be done there. If Frank Juric is to be beaten by this Japanese side. Set piece. Wade makes it 6 in the wall. Bit of pushing going on there between the two captains, Wade and Ihara. Again, the free kick held up. And Ihara given a yellow card.
Well, he's a bit unlucky to get on the yellow. He's standing there in the wall. If anything, he's being pushed. It's a little bit unfair for Japan, but that's not.
It worked out fine in the end because Japan have opened the scoring. And a well-worked set piece has resulted in a goal for the number 6 Yamaguchi. And we'll see it here. Wade tried to close the shot down. It was a good shot in the corner and Juric couldn't get across. And Japan have taken the lead. Well, it went against them initially when Ihara was booked and they felt they were hard done by without a doubt, but they've got no complaints with that result.
Just going to comment in the lead up to that free kick, Paul, that one of the weaknesses perhaps of Japanese football is that because so many players, particularly from South America, play in their J League, most of the dead ball movements go to those players at club level. So when it comes to international level, the players not that much experience with them. But that, far from being a South American free kick, was more like your British dead ball movement. Very simple ploy, but also opens a gap up to have the shot.
Japan take first blood here at Brandon Park after a very strong Australian opening. Long ball comes in. Tobin away. Trimboli trying to a little touch on. Back to Wade. To Trimboli again. Hooker. Wade continuing forward, leading the Australian charge after they've had this setback against the run of play. Very lively player, Akano. Oriyasu. Hooker back and wins it very well, Robbie Hooker. Long clearance, Trimboli challenging in the air, ball running for John Markowski. Little touch back to Blagojevich, and Wade's bundled off the ball by a speedy opponent. And Japan forward again with Yanagimato. Popovic forced to concede the corner. Japan have only beaten Australia on one occasion in their previous 9 matches. Juric punches, not a good one though. Ihara hit the post. Another shot again, straight at Juric. And I'm sure Frank Juric is delighted to get his hands on that ball after the punch earlier, which was weak to say the least, went straight to the number 4, Ihara. The shot came in, it hit the post. Hooker, it has to be said, had it covered there. And again, Ihara took another shot before it went to the arms of Juric. And you can see why this man is captain of Japan. He's played 82 games for his country. He's been cool and calm in defence and very prominent in an attacking sense as well. Masami Ihara, the number 4 for Japan. Bingley under pressure, forced to just poke it forward over his head. Now he gets the ball back along the ground this time. Ball, the goalkeeper comes, punches away. Solid punch it was as well. Popovic takes over for Australia. Into the area, Markowski! Well, he did so well to get behind the defender and in front of the goalkeeper. Popovic picked him out, and the touch from Markowski was always missing the goal. But signs that Australia are prepared to fight back. He got there brilliantly in between the two players, but just couldn't direct it towards the goal or with enough pace. Matt Bingley with the throw. Can Australia respond before the half-time break? Wade. Around 5 minutes to go until half-time. A poor throw straight to the Japanese number 14, Nanami. Markowski well offside. Japan, after their stay in Australia, move on to a tournament in Hong Kong called the Dynasty Cup. Sweden, Russia and Hong Kong will be their opponents there. Sweden then, of course, coming on to Australia after the tournament to play against the Socceroos. A sign of the commitment that Japan has to bettering themselves as a football nation. Markowski just pushed off his man. Is the overseas travelling that this country is prepared to do to gain international experience, as Markowski gains a yellow card for stopping the free kick from being taken quickly. And it's been a good battle between those two players right there. Ihara for Japan, Markowski for Australia. Nice turn inside. Markovski, Blagojevich ran straight into a marker. Nice ball out wide. He loves to attack players. Good ball to the far post. Luckily for Australia, Tobin was there with the head. As Bingley helped it away as well, but Japan pick up the pieces and come forward again. Takagi off the chest. Free kick on Blagojevich. That is a yellow card for Milan Blagojevich, the third of the night for an Australian player. And you can hear from the response of the spectators here that they do not agree with that decision. Challenge there on Nanami. It was a clear foul. Half won it in the air. Now Japan turning on the edge of the penalty area. Australia struggling to get the ball away, but a good break there as the ball falls to Trimboli. And now Markovski has time to turn. Long ball forward on the left foot for Murray, who's got him behind the defence. Damien Murray! Well, a brilliant effort because he appeared to be off balance. And he appeared to be fouled at the same time, as he was pushed there and he got his shot in and it just went past that post. There's the little flick past the goalkeeper. But he had every right to appeal for a free kick for that challenge there. And the response from Australia, almost but not quite. And the shot over the bar from Okano. There's a great feel about this match as there's opportunities for both sides. Deep ball to the far post, awkward for the Japanese number 24. He tried something spectacular and it didn't come off. This time, the decision in favour of the Melbourne Knights striker Markovski. From Markovski, playing his 11th international for Australia. Into the feet of Murray. Is he being held? He's turned past his man. And a good battle there. A bit of give and take from the referee, I'd say, because both players appeared to be manhandling their opponents. Popovich switches, hooker with the miscontrol. Unfortunately, Popovich got his foot in there. The pressure from these speedy Japanese strikers and midfielders are causing mistakes in the Australian defence. Takagi. Chip to the far post, where there aren't any blue shirts and only one yellow shirt in the form of Matt Bingley. That is a foul for Australia, and it's taken quickly by Trimboli. Murray. Markovski wide on the right-hand side. Switch of play, looking for the run from Trimboli. Hooker's there, tries the shot. And again, the combination between Paul Trimboli and Robbie Hooker is very pleasing on the eye. As the half-time whistle goes, we see the replay there. of the shot from hooker, which was going into the bottom corner of the goal, but not with enough power to trouble the goalkeeper. And it's been a very lively first 45 minutes here at Brandon Park. Certainly one that the spectators will have thoroughly enjoyed. Apart from the Australian spectators, of course, who see their side a goal down at the break, somewhat disappointingly after Australia dominated for much of the opening half hour at least. But it was on 35 minutes that Yamaguchi opened the scoring for Japan with the set piece. And at half-time at Brandon Park, the score is Australia 0, Japan 1. Be part of this squad tonight, and Jason Polak from the Brisbane Strikers, that is the Australian bench. For Japan, they have around 9 or 10 players stripped and ready to come on as substitutes as both sides make their way back onto the pitch. And Francis Awaratifi is in action in the second half here at Brandon Park. And it's Australia who'll be kicking off, and John Markovski is the player to make way for Awaratifi. And just quickly glancing at the Australian side, no other changes it appears. So Trimboli and Awaratifi up front. Former South Melbourne pairing, of course. And Brett Hugo about to get the second half underway. Try and confirm whether the Japanese have made any changes as the match continues. But Australia have some work to do here. They've got such a good record against Japan. They've only been beaten once, and that was back in 1968 when they lost 3-1 in Adelaide. But they're a goal behind tonight, and this Japanese side has looked very accomplished, in particular in the last 15 minutes of the first half. Eddie Thompson has injected Awaratifi. Will he make a difference? Well, time will tell. There's an early chance here for Awaratifi. It's awkward for the goalkeeper, but he survived a shaky early moment in the second half to gather the ball. That's Maekawa, who impressed for most of the first half with his ability to take the ball in the air. That is a feature of goalkeepers from this part of the world, or certainly the Asian part of the world, that have struggled with in the past. Awaratifi onside. Long legs of Francis Awaratifi. Trimboli. Throw into Australia. Japan have also made a couple of changes in the break. Gone out the number 3, Yanagamoto, and the number 6, Yamaguchi. Somewhat surprisingly there, they were both outstanding players in the first half. Yamaguchi scored the goal, of course. And that is a foul in the back by Milan Blagojevic. And that is his second yellow card, I believe, which means a red card for Milan Blagojevic. And that is not the sort of start that Australia needed so early on. And it was a late challenge, it has to be said. There's no question whether that was a free kick or not. He clearly went for the ball. But we come back to his yellow card in the first half, John, which was somewhat debatable. And now we see Australia down to 10 men.
Yeah, Milan, for a player of his qualities, struggled a little bit in this match. He normally plays at the back for his club, of course. He's now in midfield, and he just probably hasn't been in touch with the game as much as he'd like. That brings on a certain degree of frustration. But it does make life a little bit difficult for Australia now. Reorganisation in the middle of the park. It will require Ivanovic to push into midfield as much as possible, a role that he can perform. So going to make life a little bit difficult now.
Australia up against it, a goal down and down to 10 men. Japan forward with number 12, Soma. Just getting back to those Japanese substitutions. Numbers 22 and 23 have come on. Number 23 is Nakamura and 22 is Honda. Not a lot known about some of the bench players for the Japanese side, and we'll just see how they fit into the pattern of play as the second half continues.
I think on number 3 you mentioned that he did have a good game, but I just feel that the space that he had down this right flank, Inigo Momoto, that he didn't utilise it enough. I think that's probably a reason. They were expecting a lot more out of their flank play. The Brazilian game is very much the role model for Japan, and in that, of course, the fullback's an integral part of any attacking setup.
Corner to Japan. Taken by Japanese number 8, Kitazawa. Plays for Verdi Kawasaki. Deep cross, should be comfortably Frank Juric. Australia now with a chance to show what character they've got. Murray brought down after some positive play, which is more of what Australia need. It's like Jason Polak warming up for Australia on the far side. So we might just see what tactical change Eddie Thompson will make with the departure of Bogojevic. Deep cross. Back for Hooker. Little chip in from Trimboli. No one there. It was aimed for the head of a Waratifi. Japan, of course, are the current holders of the Asian Cup. For the first time they won that trophy, the last time it was played. They have automatic qualification for this year's Asian Cup tournament, which will be played at the end of the year in the Persian Gulf. As another Japanese player gets a yellow. Akano. For that high challenge, and it was a high dangerous challenge there on Popovic. Well, there was talk before the game that Japan would come into this match trying to rough Australia up, and we certainly haven't seen that. But despite the fact that it has been a very clean game, there's been a number of bookings. By my count, it's at least 6, plus a red card, of course, for Bogojevic. And we're only just into the second half. Nice pass down the line. It's to the number 23, Nakamura. High challenge there on a Waratifi, who has something to say to Moriyasu for that challenge. See it there, it was a high jump from Moriyasu. Takagi with touch off. Bingley in equally as quickly. Trimboli with a deeper role in the centre of midfield now. Popovic over the back. Wade just cutting out that pass, but inadvertently helping it on to Nakamura. Plays it in. Takagi turning away, laid it back. Across the goal and Bingley clears. Shot fired in the end by Kitazawa. And Japan are taking control of this match. Nakamura inside to Kitazawa. Switch of play. Well kept in there by Soma. Cuts inside and goes on his own. Plenty of Australian players behind the ball, waiting for an opportunity to get a tackle in. Japan keeping possession nicely, and they're offside.
Utilising the extra man beautifully at the moment, Japan.
There's clear offside there on Okano. Tricky situation this, John, for Australia. A man down, a goal down. What do you think they should be doing to try and get back in this match?
Well, sadly, you've got to do without the free man at the back. Otherwise, you're going to struggle all night. It means that you've got to play man for man at the back. Otherwise, Japan are going to do what they're doing now. That's it from the back and in midfield. Just keep possession of the ball. They're using the extra man. Anyone who's tried to play 10 against 9, as you do in training games, I mean, once you lose the ball, it's so hard to get it back. And Japan, the type of team who can utilise that man advantage beautifully. For that reason, we really need another one in midfield. It'll be interesting to see what Eddie does. Would mean Ivanovic, of course, playing man against man or pushing more into midfield, playing more like the number 5, the sweeper in front of the defence, rather than behind it. I think that's probably the only option we've got. Because if Japan continue like this, we're going to be chasing shadows. Not in any great hurry, just use the extra man. We've got one more. Just build it up as we like, switch the play nicely. And very hard to combat when you're a man down.
Over to Ivanovic, the Adelaide City pairing, bringing the ball out from the back. Ivanovic trying to get the ball forward into midfield, and that is a poor crossfield ball from Popovic. And the switch of play, fortunately for Australia, was equally as inaccurate. High foot up there from Hooker. That will be a free kick to Japan. He was forced into a very difficult control of the ball in the first place by a high pass. Japan with this great short passing game. Coming forward again, the curler tried from Kitazawa. But the natural keep possession style of play that the Japanese build their game on means that Australia is right up against it here. When they do give the ball away, it could be a long time before they get another touch. The chip in, Juric comes. That's a confident and positive possession take from Frank Juric, and a good clearance as well to Awaratifi. Still Awaratifi on his own. Can he produce something? He's gone down. He holds his arms out in appeal to the referee, but it was always somewhat hopeful. But great thinking there by Frank Juric in goal for Australia for that quick clearance. Japan now switching play at ease. Forward, it's Kitazawa. Won by Australia. Hooker, the long ball to Awaratifi, who been involved well since he came on at half-time. Omura, no pressure on the ball from Australia at this stage anyway, as Japan move just inside Australia's half. Back to the captain, Ihara. That's the substitute, Honda. Little clip over the back and they're onside, Takagi. Hooker can't get a challenge around the big frame of the number 10 for Japan. And here's the earlier incident when Awaratifi forced his way into the penalty area. Well, that was touch and go, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think we would have been very lucky to get a penalty out of that. And Australia pushing it was a good early ball from Djuric, but our general play really has to pick up, to involve more happening, to give us more width. I think just to play Francis down the middle is a pretty ordinary way to play the game at this stage. Australia have to start to put some passes together to get things happening, especially with players like this. Bingley have to be more involved in attack.
Good positive run from Bingley, clips the ball across to Murray on the far post. And it was the ball to play as well, because Murray was surging forward and was free on the left. The ball comes in again. Awaratifi in behind the defender there, waiting for any mistakes from the defence. But Bingley with that great run down the right-hand side. That was the end of the move, really, when Australia were caught offside. A quarter of an hour into the second half here at Brandon Park. Australia 0, Japan 1. Honda out wide to Nakamura. Bingley, long clearance. Accurate though, straight to the chest of Awaratifi. He's asked to hold the ball up, and that's a foul in the back of Francis Awaratifi, and Trimboli takes it early, hoping to use the pace of Mori. But they're very calm at the heart of the Japanese defence. They've shown no signs of capitulating under any Australian pressure so far tonight. Kitazawa, Takagi. Here's Takagi. The second goal for Japan is well finished indeed by Takagi. Well, we talked before the game about him being the danger man. That's his 15th goal for his country in his 34th match. He shrugged off Ivanovic. He got past Tobin. He picked his spot fast, Djuric.
And it was almost too easy, wasn't it? Nice turn. Oh.
Could have been a penalty if it wasn't a goal anyway.
Not a goal,
so
it's a penalty, isn't it? But if Australia's task harder, it's almost impossible now unless we can do something to get someone in midfield, because we're completely outplayed there. Japan playing it very, very smartly. They're using the extra man as well as I've seen any team in the past. We've seen so many games where 10 men outplay 11 quite amazingly. But Japan just building it up nice and slowly. A good 15 to 20 passes build up through midfield. And the other effect of that, of course, Paul, is that Australia really chasing shadows. There's nothing more frustrating than chasing a team which is putting together 20 passes. by the time you get it back, you're too exhausted to do much about it. But Australia really have to do something about the midfield, whether that's pushing Ivanovic into it or making a tactical change there or bringing in new blood. Because if we don't, there is no hope at all of pulling back this 2-goal deficit.
Okano is the player down for Japan. Stretcher required just to take him to the sidelines, though I feel sure he'll continue in the match.
Well, the last time Australia, well, the only time Australia's been beaten by Japan was back in 1968 in Adelaide, the third of a 3-match series, Japan winning 3-1. And the Japanese players were carried off the field. That was the Adelaide fans' protest about having no Adelaide player in the team. We hope the same doesn't happen tonight. It's probably a bit early to write Australia off, but the way this game's shaping is going to be more and more difficult for them to get back into all of this. Is a big chance. Bringing Wade into action on this free kick.
Trimboli it is who'll take it. 3 men in the wall for Japan. Plenty of players forward for Australia. All the big men. Tobin's there. Popovic, Waratifi at the back post. Wade, of course. Bingley. Can Australia respond here? Well, Wade was the target. It came to the near post this time.
Great ball into Wade. A little bit annoyed with himself. Normally puts those away. Just got under it a little bit too much. Great ball from Trimboli. And the right timing to pull one back, Paul. You just sense that if this Australia can't get one back shortly, that they're not going to be in it at all.
Waratifi will have to watch himself here after a reckless challenge like that, and it's the yellow card for Waratifi. He shakes his head, and you see Eddie Thompson in the background claiming that the ball was played. The card's already out for Francis. And another Japanese player requiring some treatment. This time it was the number 23 down is Nakamura. Fourth official there just saying that he'll have to be moved off the pitch to get some treatment. But Japan in control here tonight. 21 minutes of the second half has gone. You just wonder what Eddie Thompson can do to come back from this tricky situation. There's no sign of any movement from the bench of Australia, it has to be said. He's sticking with what he's got for the time being, at least. And the numbers are even momentarily as Nakamura will get some treatment.
Well, I think the delay is that to make a change, he really has to disturb that defensive triangle of Ivanovic, Popovic or Tobin. I'm naturally reluctant to do that, but you can't see things improving for us until we get some sort of control in midfield, which we just are nowhere at this stage.
Okano trying the little chip in behind the defence. Japan pick up possession again. Soma. Forward for Soma in space. Good play from Japan. The ball comes across. Tobin in quickly with the head. And again, Japan queuing up somewhat on the edge of the penalty area because of that numerical advantage. Frank Juric in goal. Knows he's under some real pressure in the second half. He must keep a clean sheet for the rest of the match at least to give Australia a chance to get back into the game. Bingley down the line.
I mean, quite simply, if you're a man down, you just can't afford the luxury of having a spare man at the back. You look at midfield of Polak could come on, maybe Lozanovsky, to give Australia some width, which quite frankly they have lacked in the second half. There's been very little activity on either flank.
Trimboli for Australia. Tobin looking for options. Looking for Bingley, but it was well anticipated there by Soma. And Japan break with 4 players forward. Ivanovic under real pressure. He played it safe. And he found Bingley, who in turn found Trimboli, but they've been outnumbered by Japan here, and they come forward again. Okano. Ivanovic with the tackle. Again, the bounce of the ball goes in favour of the visitors. And now the cross comes into Juric. Matt Bingley. Latifi, his Marconi teammate, picked his feet out perfectly, laid it back. Trimboli. Damien Murray now tries one. Worth a try as well from any distance, and none would know that better than Damien Murray. As Japan make another change. It's the number 21 who's coming on, who is Sawada. And unfortunately for Nakamura, who only came on at half-time, he makes way. Pushing there by the number 10, Takagi. Got the perfect build for a centre forward, Takagi. Murray backing into his marker, turns away. Japan win possession again. Popovic did well to win that ball for Australia. Waratifi feeds the Sydney United defender again. He was just crammed out there by 2 Japanese midfielders. But they need players like him to come forward. As Tobin's in space now, Bingley out wide on the right. Long ball, looking for a Waratifi from Alex Tobin. Field, Japan patiently waiting for a good opening, and they do get possession. Soma. It's Australia waiting to make a change. Jason Polak is on the halfway line, waiting to come on. Popovic. Had to concede the corner in the end. And the substitution will now take place. Well, the referee has seen the substitution, and it is Ivanovic, the sweeper, who goes off. Jason Polak, the Brisbane Strikers midfielder, who will come on. So Eddie must have heard you, John.
Well, it's quite simple. I mean, it's a luxury to play with a free man at the back, whether that meant Ivanovic a man-to-man, Popovic pushing into midfield. But something had to happen there. We just, as much as we'd like to play it, you're a man down. you've got a spare man at the back, so in effect the rest of the guys are playing two men down. It's almost impossible to play. So I would say a good change. I would have thought perhaps a little bit later, and Lozanovsky also coming on now. This will give Australia a bit of width. We certainly in the second half we've been relying on just the ball down to Francis up front, the long ball, and I don't think that's going to fool anyone really. It has to be a more controlled build-up. Hopefully Lozanovsky can provide the width and also the beautiful crosses which only he is capable of.
An international debut then for Goran Lozanovsky as Trimboli goes off for him. And Wade clears the ball for Australia. Olak, Bingley nodded on. Waratifi still to join the attack. Lozanovsky straight into the right midfield position, as you would expect. He's got just over a quarter of an hour to make an impact. Japan in control. Ihara calling the shots from the back for Japan. It's Paul Trimboli, the man who was substituted, had a fine first half. Really caused a lot of problems for this Japanese defence. He can be pleased with his work tonight.
Yeah, I think it was a difficult second half, not just for Paul, but anyone operating in midfield. I mean, they were simply not in touch with the game at all. Basically chasing shadows because of the man down and because of, let's pay tribute to the way Japan have played. Very skilled, possession-type game, which has made life difficult for Australia.
Shot fired over the bar. And some lackadaisical defending there from Australia. They just seemed a little half-hearted about that, as Japan easily worked the opening and the shot was fired over in the end. Bingley. Long ball over the back for Wade, of all people, who's made a good run forward. And Lozanovsky was the supporting player. But a good run in behind the Japanese defence from Paul Wade from midfield.
This result, should it stay this way, of course, will go down very well in Japan, even though they do hold the Asian Cup during the Asian Games, which was in Hiroshima in Japan. Japan performed very badly. So this, in effect, is a new-look squad from that debacle, where they were expected to do so well and on their home ground really performed very poorly.
To the penalty area, Lozanovsky won it in the air. Not a clean win, but it's fallen for Polak nicely. Bingley now. Waratifi, can he turn? A great turn from Waratifi. He was offside and it wouldn't have counted. But a nice move this from Australia. The back heel from Polak, the poke forward from Bingley. Good turn, and credit to the goalkeeper who just bet the ball away anyway. But that will give Australia some confidence, and you can see there were three players offside, not just Waratifi. Wade and Murray were there also. Less than 13 minutes to go at Brandon Park, and it's looking like Japan have the honours tonight. But Australia will have a chance to gain their revenge should the scoreline remain the same on Wednesday night in Melbourne at the Bob Jones Stadium, home of South Melbourne, when the return leg of this two-game series will be played. And Lozanovsky, who's yet to touch the ball, has earned himself a yellow card. For that challenge, in the back of the number 14, Nanami.
Wasn't as bad a challenge as it was made out either. I must say it was a foul, but certainly not as bad as all that.
Good to see players like Lozanovsky and Juric coming into the Australian side. The system is working in Australia. These are players who have played at under 20 level and Olympic level, now full international level, which just shows you that the progression is there for Australian players. Not only those two, of course, but Kevin Muscat, Joe Spiteri, they've had a similar rise through the ranks. Bingley to Wade. Awkward place to turn and face your marker in the centre of the park there. Waratifi pressurising. It has to be a pressure game from Australia now. They've got nothing to lose.
Well, even to throw Bingley up front at this stage wouldn't hurt. It's a little bit of a luxury wide on the right with no real direct opponent. Plays with Waratifi at Marconi, a little bit of understanding there. It really is all or nothing, isn't it? You're down 2-0. Let's go for it. Bingley can play in front. And you do feel a little bit of a luxury playing wide on the right with no direct opponent.
Nami goes off. Morishima, the number 15, goes on. Both coaches using their substitutes very liberally, it has to be said, as is the privilege in a friendly series. Bingley closed down very quickly. And a good play there from Japan. Kitazawa leading the charge. Chip to the near post. Popovic placed perfectly. Polak forced back into the danger area. Nice turn. Tobin down, but recovered against a lively opponent in Moriyasu. Popovic. Long ball. Waratifi turned and chased it, but his marker stood his ground. Again, the ball in behind for a Waratifi, and that's a strong challenge by a Waratifi there. He's not happy with the decision. Japan in control. Number 12, Soma. Kitazawa, who's had an outstanding game, the number 8 in the centre of midfield for Japan. No one there. Bingley just touching it on to Lozanovsky. Finally got a solid touch on the ball. His first in international soccer. Oh, great run this by Okano. Super run. Couldn't finish it off though because Juric stood his ground.
He really has impressed tonight, Okano. That's a great run, just really exposing us at the back. And of course, looking forward ahead to Wednesday night. Kazu will be in the Japanese lineup.
Polak forced forward. Hooker, little trip across the goal of Waratifi there. Couldn't get head on ball. And even Eddie Thompson was on his feet for that one because it was Australia's best moment of the second half. The ball fell delightfully for Hooker. The cross came over, but it wasn't finished off because of some resolute Japanese defending. Goalkeeper got a touch. In the end, it was the number 12, Soma. The recovering run from the midfielder kept the ball away from a Waratifi. But looking ahead, John, to Wednesday with Kazimura, the two strikers they've got tonight, they're both impressed, haven't they? Takagi and Okano.
Both. You wonder where they're going to make room for Kazu. I'm sure they will. Biggest sports star in Japan. Of course, spending some 7 years in Brazil.
$3 million a year, reputed to be earning.
Well, that's just from the playing fees. That's US dollars, of course, $3.5 million.
It's good work if you can get it.
And a real scorer at international level, 29 goals, 52 games. So an added problem for Australia as they look ahead to that match in Melbourne on Wednesday evening.
Quick on his feet, isn't he? The number 15, and a good ball through for Okano. Pulled it back, and Wade was there to divert the cross away for a corner. But the little number 15, Morishima, has made a big impression since he's come on as substitute. He fed the ball through there for Okano. Japan not happy with two, they're looking for their third. Kitazawa with the corner. Deep to the back. Hara, awkward for him. He's had a good solid game tonight, the captain, Asami Ihara. 83 games he's played for his country. Olak. Good ball forward. Wade asked to hold the play up. Kitazawa, and that is onside. Juric is right out of his goal. And Takagi, can he keep it in? Juric running back. Good ball across. Juric with the save. Good save. It's still not over. Takagi, the third for Japan. The second goal of the night to Takagi. And he did well, didn't he? He went round Juric and stayed on his feet. He kept his head. The ball came across. Credit to Juric for that save. But Takagi finished it off. And that's Japan's third goal.
Beautiful and thoroughly deserved goal. I mean, they really, though we are a man short, they've, particularly in the second half, giving us something of a hiding. Disturbing, no doubt, for Eddie Wilby. Our defence really hasn't been what we've come to expect from them. You can see 3 goals at international level is a bit of a drubbing. I think it's fair to say in the second half we've received just that.
Hooker with the cross. Easy save for the goalkeeper. Well, this is the strongest side that Japan can put on the park, of course, without Miura. And they really have impressed tonight. So much more accomplished than the 11 that faced Australia a year ago. They're fast, they move well off the ball. They're technically very good also. And Australia have much to do if they're to respond in the match at the Bob Jones Stadium on Wednesday. Jason Polak. Ball given to a Waratifi. Mori doesn't usually hesitate around that part of the area. Lozanovsky. Little chip across. Wade tried to force it back across the goal. But but there was no one there for Australia. Lozanowski forward, won the ball well. And Waratifi, can he score for Australia? He can! It's been a long time coming, but the biggest cheer of the night goes to Francis Waratifi. And credit to Lozanowski, who won the ball. Japan were forced to backpedal. He fed it to Waratifi, who finished it nicely.
And could have been forgiven for not going by himself here, couldn't he? Had the defence on the back foot, could have gone by himself. Unselfishly to Waratifi, puts it away well. And some consolation for Australia in the second half, which really hasn't been kind to us. I think since the send-off, we just haven't got back on our feet. Full credit, however, to Japan. They've played a pretty smart game in the second half. Unlike most teams who get the extra man, they've utilised that to their advantage. And they've had Australia on the back foot for most of this half.
That was after Lozanowski won the ball. He fed it across to Waratifi. The left foot was accurate. And Australia are on the board. That's a good finish from them, and it's something that they can take into the match on Wednesday night. Kitazawa to Soma. Look at the room here for number 22, Honda. Nice ball across to Okano. Patient build-up from Japan, waiting for a quality opening. And that wasn't a quality opening, but he tried his luck anyway because there's only a minute or so remaining. And Eddie Thompson and Les Scheinflug with somber looks on their faces. They know they've been beaten by a better side tonight. Lozanowski. And Australia come back with a second. And Waratifi's there. It was a good cross from Goran Lozanowski. We've seen so much of his quality in that area already in 1996. And he picked out a Waratifi there, but it was just a bit high for the Marconi striker. Touch, Bingley fends off a man with the big forearm, but he's got pace, hasn't he? Look, pulled it back.
And that move was exactly what we haven't done in the second half. That's the type of thing. I know it's difficult a man down, but that's the type of thing we needed. Bingley joining in. A lot more happening on either side of the field.
Australia forced back to Tobin. 3 Japanese players closing him down there. If they'd won possession, it would have been 2 or 3 onto 1. Nice play, Soma, who's been so involved down this left-hand side in the second half. Tobin with the stand-up tackle, blocks the first, still Japan in possession. Good shot! And Moriyasu has added a 4th for Japan. And it smiles all round for the Japanese side after the long-range shot to see Frank Jurich in Australia's goal. He was given a long time to line it up. Juric may look back on that one as not his best moment.
But his immediate reaction tells you whose goal it is. The hands go to the head. Awkward angle, sure, but Sprink knows better than anyone else that was his goal.
Bounced at that pivotal position just in front of the goalkeeper, which makes it hard. But a bit of icing on the cake for Japan. That goal. Wade, across, appeals for handball, not given by the referee. Wade still managing to get into forward positions, which is a credit to his work rate. He whipped in across, appeal for the handball.
But not from Wadey. That was the interesting one. Francis appealed. I don't think Paul Wade did. Certainly didn't complain after it.
Moriyasu. Kitazawa. Japan still coming forward. They're showing no signs at all of relenting. It's the sort of result that I want to really nail home, especially for the first half, but couldn't turn that domination into goals. And it was the sending off of Milan Blagojevic early in the second half that really turned the match totally in Japan's favour. A late goal from Awaratifi for Australia is something they will take into the match on Wednesday night. But Yamaguchi with one, Takagi with two, and Moriyasu got one. Made it 4. Australia 1, Japan 4.